Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Benjamin Kogut on the line, and he's partner in investor relations over at HJH Investments. Ben, welcome to the show.
Adam, it's an honor to be on the show. Thanks so much.
Oh, man, so I'm excited to have you on here because you're the guy that I want to talk to about this. So raising capital for real estate syndicating, I mean, you're the guy. But before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit more about what you're doing over at HJH Investments. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So at HJH Investments, our mission is to protect and grow investor capital through commercial real estate syndication. So what that means is that I work with private individuals who are looking to invest in commercial real estate. We pool the money together, and my firm handles everything from the acquisitions to the due diligence to handling making monthly distributions, and then finally, ultimately, one day making a disposition. And my role in the team is building relationships with investors, educating people about investing in commercial real estate, and ultimately just maintaining relationships.
That's awesome. So a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives listening right now, and while some do, purchase on their own, others are they're like, hey, I just got to find the right type of syndicating deal, like, because they don't want to deal, so they don't have time or whatever the reason is, or they just want to be able to do bigger deals maybe. That being said, any type of specific geographies you specialize in or tend to invest in, just to give the listeners a little bit of a flavor for what type of portfolio you're building?
Sure. So our track record has been focused on buying investment properties that are either industrial, office, or retail. And we start with properties that are stabilized by having at least 30% of the tenancy being high credit tenants with long-term leases. So they're already stabilized on day one. They're cash flowing. Even in today's turbulent market, we're still making distributions to our investors because we know that our clients, our tenants rather, are able to pay the rent going forward. And so we're able to kind of match together our investors who are looking for passive income through investment, through commercial real estate, and then our track record of having all the systems in place and sourcing great deals, and kind of putting all those pieces together.
And I love it, and that's one of the things. So I know a lot of the investors out there listening to this, they hear this concept over and over and over again, diversifying to get exposure into different parts. Now, obviously, right now we're in pretty volatile times. So if you're depending on when you're listening to this, this was recorded in 2020. But that being said, even going forward, whether you're in good times or bad times, it's just something to always keep in mind. So with that, let's change it up a bit, Ben. I want to get into today's topic a little bit further. So raising capital for commercial real estate syndicating, I mean, you've done quite a bit of that yourself and with your team. Where do you want to begin with that subject?
Sure. So, our team has acquired over $225 million of assets under management, and it's all
congratulations, by the way. Let's not just brush over that. That's a big number. That's a lot of work that goes into that. There's working entrepreneurs listening right now. They just heard that number like, wow, I want to be there one day. So continue. I just had to say congrats on that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been quite the journey, and it really is based on having great people on our team and finding great opportunities to invest in, and having incredible relationships with, high net worth accredited investors or somewhere in that range, and really just being, high integrity, doing what we say we're going to do at all times, and spending a lot of extra time making sure that we are thoroughly vetting, exhaustive research on all the properties, and communication, making sure that we are educating people about why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing what we're doing is really a passion of mine. So it's a pleasure to get to share with people about what HJH Investments is up to, and getting to share my wisdom that I've learned along the way with people about how to make smart, risk mitigated investments. And it's frankly, I'm having a lot of fun.
Let's talk to the little guy right now, Ben. The guy that's maybe out there just kind of getting started and thinking about real estate and syndicating as a potential way to broaden their portfolio. Maybe they're tapped out, they bought their first property or two, and they just they're not going to be able to do the next one on their own. What kind of advice would you give to that person?
Well, I'm always happy to talk one-on-one and find out where they're at on an individual basis, but if you're talking about the guy that has some capital, maybe they want to diversify away from the stock market or something like that, commercial real estate syndication is really a great avenue to go. There's significant tax benefits through accelerated depreciation and tax losses. There is, working with a great team who has a track record, who knows how to manage and asset manage the properties and make sure that communication and distributions are done in a proper way, and accounting, of course. And then the people that are looking to maybe be a general partner as well, like that's a whole other topic that I could help people figure out how to move forward with, to make sure that you're, thoroughly vetting the assets that you're acquiring. And I like to advise people to really figure out a niche that they can focus on. And in our case, we're focused on industrial, office, and retail properties with high credit tenants that have long-term leases. I know a lot of people are involved in multifamily and other types of asset classes like that. But we found a lot of success by pursuing our niche in secondary markets, mostly throughout the Midwest of the United States. So we have, we find that there's a lot less competition, and the fundamentals of the real estate and the unit economics are still just as solid as they would be in major markets, except that there's a much bigger delta in the cap rates, and so we are able to buy things in the 9.5, 10.5 caps on deals that had they been in my hometown in Austin, they would have probably been closer to 6.5, 7 cap range. So the numbers work a lot better when we're syndicating and in other markets like that.
Man, I love it. So Ben, I know we barely scratched the surface on this on syndicating and your wealth of knowledge, but we're about out of time for this episode. So that being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more about HJH Investments, what's the best way for them to connect with you and your team?
Sure. So at hjhinvestments.com, plenty of information there. You can find me at Ben Kogut, and last name is spelled Kogut, and I'm on all the socials, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, yada, yada. And I also have my own podcast called The Real Estate Niche Show as well.
And tell us, your own podcast, Ben, you're holding out on me. You didn't even tell me that you had a podcast. Are you kidding me? Hold on. We're going to fit that in. Tell us a little bit more about the show. Give us the name again. You didn't even tell me.
Well, frankly, I'm just now at the cusp of it. I haven't even launched it yet, but I have started recording. It's called The Real Estate Niche Show, and the purpose of it is to connect with people that are really focused on whatever their particular real estate niche is, and trying to find people that are at the top of their game in those areas in order to help them get exposure, and for me to personally learn more about what they're up to and what my audience would be interested in learning about their niches as well.
Oh, man, that's so exciting. Love it. I'm excited for the launch of that. You're definitely going to have to keep in touch with that. I love to support and to promote other podcasters. So get some interviews recorded and get it done and get that thing launched. And we'll have to bring you back on the show just to do we'll give you some time to get some interviews done, but just to do a whole episode on your podcast and what kind of conversations you're having, because I love to get into the head of other podcasters and make sure my audience knows, because you've done a lot in the real estate space. So I think my audience will certainly benefit from listening to your podcast. So great stuff there, Ben, and glad we were able to bring that out too. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, definitely give that a subscribe, but also leave us some comments on the video. I mean, love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. Let's keep the conversation going over in the YouTube community. And Ben, thanks again for coming on the show.